All right, guys, let's talk about manual bidding. Now, this strategy really stumps a lot of Facebook marketers and they're not sure how to use it properly. So it's really important before you start to even implement manual bidding inside of your campaigns that you actually understand how the auction process works. So by now, hopefully you understand what goes into the auction process, so how Facebook calculates how likely it is to show your ads to high intent or high quality users, and that's based off things like your bid, the expected actions, as well as the ad and relevancy. So remember that BEAR acronym. Now, the bid amount is obviously something that you directly control. It's probably the only part in the algorithm or that auction process that you can directly control immediately. And this is why. So when you go into the auction process, there's going to be all sorts of different people, right? That are going to be in that potential pool inside of your lookalike or your interest, inside of whatever targeting that you're using. And there's going to be various levels of quality of those users or of that audience. So it's typically what we call A class audiences, B class, C class, D class. And Facebook will normally try to find you the sweet spot where it's showing you to at a level where you're getting conversions, but at the cheapest level possible. And so normally if you're looking at this graph here, what that means is typically it's targeting kind of, middle of the line kind of audience or users inside of that pool in your targeting. And it's trying to get you ultimately the cheapest cost per result. And so there's a lot of people that you are potentially not going after or your ad is not being shown to, even though they have a higher intent to purchase. So even though they may convert a lot easier because there's other advertisers outbidding you and you don't really have that budget, and Facebook is trying to get you the best, cheapest result. That's the intent when you launch with an automatic bid. And so even though there's people that may cost a little bit more, so the CPM might be a little bit higher, it's oftentimes worth trying to go after them because even though the CPM might cost more, it actually might ultimately be cheaper for the cost per conversion because they have higher intent. They're more likely to convert. So manual bid is a great way to not only scale, but also see if you can get better results from your CPA, especially if you have a great conversion rate for your product, right? So when should you use manual bid? Well, typically when you launch a brand new campaign, don't even think about it. Don't even touch manual bid. In fact, just leave it automatically. It's the default setting and it's called lowest. So lowest cost is essentially automatic bid where Facebook tries to get you the cheapest amount. So this is best when you're launching new campaigns. You're still trying to figure out what's the average cost per acquisition here, and also when your soft stats are not the best. So you're still trying to figure out good creative, CTR, CPCs, etc. With target costs, this is essentially your manual bid here. You would essentially use this when you have validated an ad set. So an ad set is working really, really well. You've got some good soft metrics in place. And also you have a understanding of what that cost per acquisition is, your average cost per acquisition. So you've run enough purchases through to know that, hey, it usually costs us $20 a purchase or $50 a purchase. So target cost is how you actually manipulate that manual bid. And this screenshot is from your ad set level, by the way, guys. So what should you put on your manual bid? Well, this is kind of a calculation that has worked for us, and honestly, you can just kind of double it as well. We've just found that this worked really well. So typically we'll test out a lot of different manual bids, especially if we're scaling using the horizontal scaling method. And so what we would do essentially is we would calculate, the average CPA, double that by times that by 2, and then add 25% to that as well. And then we would test out one where it's times by 3, times by 4, times by 5, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you aren't really necessarily trying to scale, but you want to test out switching your bid strategy, what I would actually recommend is you duplicate that ad set and you test out a new bid and you pause your existing one, simply because changing those kinds of optimizations can sometimes throw what was a really good campaign totally off kilter. And if it didn't work out, you want to be able to come back to that ad set at some stage the way that it was. So this is essentially how to use manual bid, when to use it, and also how much to bid.